We're here to help you learn.
We are with our special guest.
Yeah, John teaches us everything we know, and then we teach you.
That's right.
It's true.
Yeah. So tune in.
In front of me, I have like tons and tons of information about acoustics that I've been writing up. I've been pretty much scouring the web for the last 3 or 4 months in search of building. Really, just because I'm trying to build out my new studio, and it's been just like an epic journey. It's definitely the deepest I've ever gone into this whole side of things, and I feel like for once I actually see the entire picture of what you should do when it comes to placement, like types of materials, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull that mic just closer to your mouth.
You can scoot up too. Just do little hops.
Yeah, so John moved mid-pandemic.
Exactly.
I want to say, right? And
about like 4 months ago.
Yeah, about 4 months ago, and has been doing all sorts of acoustic science experiments. And we just moved, so now we got to do some of our own. Mm-hmm. And luckily, John has been doing all the research, so we don't have to.
I mean, honestly, the goal I had, and maybe the mic gain needs to come up just a tad on this. I don't know if that, maybe? No?
Is it on here, or is that just headphones?
It can. It's number 2.
Test.
Yeah, I mean, you can pull that gain up in less than...
Test.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a little better.
better.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that better?
It's a little better, yeah.
Thank you.
Just a wee bit, huh?
All right.
All
right. Very good. Please, continue.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I could go literally in depth on... I essentially wanted to make an entire article. That's what I'm in the middle of writing up. I want to have enough information for people who have no idea how to even approach this topic. Like, if you move into a new space, if you want to build an environment, all of it. Like, I don't necessarily want to get into the construction side of everything, but like understanding the flow is really the where I wanted to capture all the information.
So like priorities as far as like what do you need to pay attention to first, and what's the last thing you need to pay attention to.
Like, what are the most important things and what aren't. And like I also got like, I've written down a couple common misconceptions that people have around this whole thing, because there's like hundreds and hundreds of forums that, like, how many of you have read forum posts that have just had so much conflicting information around audio?
Oh, all the time.
Like every time. Literally I bet like the first, you could just Google about what's the best material and it's just immediately I'm
just like
confused.
a nightmare.
Yeah.
No, dude, burlap is the best.
Just make your studio in like a concrete room.
Yeah. Dude, you have to use a sound absorbent leather for the back side of your panels.
I have heard that works really good.
Yeah, it works really good absorbing pressure-based sounds.
Metal actually is like what's commonly used in the professional industry.
Oh.
Like a sheet of steel.
That's cool.
How
thick?
Really? What?
Like,
to absorb low end?
It's basically meant to fight the resonance.
Diffract it.
Right.
It's not so much
it
diffract,
absorbs the
it absorbs
the
sound
the pressure.
Yeah, and what they do is you can think about like a wind chime. It's tuned to a certain note, right?
Yeah.
Same kind of idea, but it's a giant sheet. And the thing is, you don't just like staple or nail a sheet of metal to a piece of wood. You actually, they fasten it. They kind of sandwich it between a couple pieces of rubber, and then that rubber they kind of like mount in a frame. So essentially, it's kind of like free hanging in there, so it's not actually being held by the rigid wood.
Crazy.
Yeah, but they'll like you can find out just if you know the density of a material and the thickness. You can use physics to pretty much determine how long do I need to have, how big of a piece of this do I need to have it have a resonant frequency of like 20 hertz or 30 hertz or something. So that's how they'll actually build Helmholtz resonators. But I mean, honestly, that's something that.
No, I'm starting a steel making company after we do this. Yeah, I need to get on top of this.
David's Resonators.
Yeah.
Inc.
You know, you're only a true artist if you create everything from the ground up.
100% everything.
Your own DAW,
Yep. Especially the
You
dog.
must build your house.
You have to build your own software compiler.
Yep.
Got to build the
Yeah,
speakers.
100%.
Yep.
Everything must be done by your own self.
You have to actually build your own computer.
Otherwise, you're just a fraud.
You need to design the circuitry.
You must
processor.
design the
Yeah.
computer.
You have to. I mean,
You have to go mine the ore.
yeah.
You
have to
you
make,
do.
You have to make your own pickaxe. You have
Yeah.
to blacksmith.
Yeah.
You have to have children to do chores for you. So you have to become a father.
It'll take a couple generations,
Yeah.
but you'll get there
It'll take a
eventually.
while.
Maybe you'll make music when you're
Solid
70.
plan.
Listen,
Take this plan to the bank, and
listen.
how it
Only
starts.
great things are worth doing right.
Yeah.
Okay?
yes, indeed. But yeah, I wonder how we could best.
This is
I have-
just going to be this whole podcast is you trying to talk about something and us derailing.
Oh, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I have like a challenge.
That's the podcast.
That's the podcast.
Pull up. Are we able to do a screen share of MS Paint?
Oh,
Of
let's
course-
go.
Of course we are.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
just,
pull up MS Paint. I wanna do a little
We go down
quiz
here.
and see what you guys have
Go
to
this.
say.
Yeah, I'm down. That sounds like fun.
Go
Caleb
like
was
this.
giving us a little drawing tutorial the other night when we were setting up the studio.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It was pretty fun.
Nice.
So I'm glad that you brought it up because I was hoping we would get to use this at some point. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah. We're going to be all small next to it.
did it?
Oh, yeah.
That'll be
The
fun.
question is, did it open it on one of the screens? I cannot see. It sure did. Give us a moment, folks. I have to go down.
So I want to show you something cool. Click on it in the bottom corner right there.
Hang on.
Oh, you got it. All right.
Oh wait, can you change
Check
the
this
screen
out.
it's on?
Windows key. Arrows.
I do a shift. Windows key shift with my video games
Legend.
Pretty dope.
to move them around.
Shortcuts. Way of life.
I
Know
never
your
knew that one.
shortcuts, people.
Oh, okay, you're
Mhm.
right. You're right.
Control F.
So, folks, let me get us back here. Now you see us with MS Paint.
Yep.
And let me give this mouse over to. That's not the right one. Yeah, it is.
All right. So I'm going to try to do my best with this.
You want to push it
You
to the
can't
side?
see. You can't see the cursor because the screen is trash. There you go.
Oh, this is going to be tough.
Yep.
All
You
right.
can
I
push
got
the
it.
laptop over
I can see it. I can see it.
I can see it. I can see it. Waves.
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 Duh. I've used MS Paint before. Obviously, waves. Oh.
Teeth. It's a mouth.
So if
It's
if
it's
sound,
a gummy mouth.
my question is, if sound was traveling towards a surface of this shape,
It gets focused back into the center.
my question is, which shape is better
Hmm.
for diffusion?
Bottom for sure.
Diffusion? Yeah, bottom.
No, or is it the top? Because do the waves hit each other again and cancel out more?
Well, it's true. Are we talking diffusion or is it refraction?
Refraction is something it's more.
It's
Refraction's
like going
like when
around it or something.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's-
that's right. That's
That's diffraction.
Oh, that's right. The one around
Refraction
is diffraction.
is when it goes into the wall and then bends in a direction.
Through it.
Mhm.
It goes through the thing,
That's
but at a
right.
different direction.
Yeah, it kind of like adjusts.
Which is something we
Oh.
don't
Like-
see too much, but
It happens when you put
I
a
have
laser
to.
through salt
I have
water.
to say the bottom. Although the little divots in between, I would think would cause an issue.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I'm gonna say the bottom one as well. I think
Cool.
the bottom one
Yeah.
would be best, and the reason I say is conical shapes, in general, like they're gonna focus the sound. you
Right,
know?
it's shaped like a speaker
Ex-
cone.
exactly. And I mean, I was
It's
thinking
gonna
about it.
try and
What do you think? If
come around and
exactly like it'll hit one side, it'll bounce to the other,
Yeah,
and then it'll come
bounce,
right back out. So
bounce,
it's like it's just gonna focus the sound and make these weird
Right.
comb shapes.
Hmm.
So I don't know, just an interesting thing. What's cool, I think the reason I brought this up was I was talking to Tom Brennan, Kyoto. We're both in a
Shout
similar,
out Kyoto.
Yeah,
Shout out
Kyoto. We're both in a similar position where he just moved too, And he's in the middle of all the same stuff that you guys are doing with building out your new studios, and we're just going back and forth constantly with ideas. And the thing, I made a post the other day about how bad desk reflections can be. And it's from like 1 or 2,000 hertz higher and up. And the thing that we're trying to figure out is like, well, how could you keep a desk but kill the reflections? Like keep the concept of a desk to put things on, but actually still deal with that problem. And I mean, Noisia deals with it by having really small slits in their desks, which is great. But it also, like, that's a massive amount of work.
Right, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking, could you make like a super thin layer of insulation and like cover it, and so you just have like little
like a
padded
tabletop.
ends? Yeah, like the little just padded ends up to where my mouse pad is, which I assume already kind of helps a little bit. So just like the first feet into the desk are like padded. Yeah, basically. Yeah, is kind of what I was thinking. You don't really want to place your really top-heavy beer on there, but
well, honestly, the one thing there's this certain material. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what I'm talking about. There's like a certain type of foam that you can get that's rigid. It's like really hard. It's a little spongy, but if you know, it definitely has pretty good form, and you could probably build a whole tabletop out of it and still be able to put things on it, even like this, that wouldn't just fall right over, and it still has like a certain amount of permeability. Not sure if you're gonna find the picture of it. That's the thing.
Is it like styrofoam?
Look up acoustic panels. I know that's such like a broad term, but I'm curious. Like if I see it, I can at least point at what, like, because they do have professional ones that are made. It's actually more common in like the click on images. Yeah.
Here, let me go back over here real quick.
So you see that
in
the middle, the hexagon. See how that thing, it's like, that thing I bet is rigid. It's probably not floppy at all.
Right. Oh,
that's what she said.
Boom.
That company I was talking to you about, Geometry. Oh, wait, we're on the wrong screen here. Gotta go over here. Here we go. Where is it?
Sick.
That was actually one of the things in the post. Adam Ovoid and Brandon were talking about. One of the things people will do for the desk reflection problem is they'll literally just have pieces of the desk just angled.
Carve out.
Well, they'll just like imagine if where you would normally put your beer, it's just like a big angle, which makes the desk unusable. Like unless it's going somewhere and there's like a spot to put things elsewhere, but
like a down.
Like up towards the speaker.
Like this?
Like this.
Like a... Oh.
Towards. Out. Towards, yeah.
It's hard to see, but these things are...
Yeah, those look pretty hard.
These things are interesting. Yeah, they're
see,
like
that's
pressed,
the kind of material. Yeah.
Pressed...
that's one of them.
Plant material. This is that acoustic geometry I was talking to you about.
I bet that stuff's pretty rigid. Like you could probably, if you had a whole desktop built out of it, you could use it like that. The only problem is if you do spill something on it, like good luck cleaning that up because it's all going in.
That's true.
But
wow, learning lots here.
I guess the whole reason I brought that up was with that MS Paint. We were talking about like what kind of router bits could you just run across wood,
right?
To maybe help with that problem. That way you could keep a desk, but it just have a texture to it.
Yeah, because you're going specifically in with a router, so you don't want to do the.
And what's cool is if you know that your reflections start at a certain frequency range, like 2,000 hertz. I mean, I'm curious about this. What do you think the wavelength of 2,000 hertz is?
No idea.
The length.
The wavelength. Because that's what it all comes down to.
Pretty small.
I would assume pretty small.
Yeah. Super small? Like less than a centimeter?
Yeah.
I don't know.
200 of them in a second.
2,000.
How fast does sound travel?
2,000.
Like 382 meters
Like
a second or something?
no, it's
is
like
not
1130 feet a second.
Do the raw math here.
1130 feet a second. Okay.
Something like that.
Thinking.
Here, it's
No, I could never get that.
wow, it's actually a lot bigger than I thought. It's half a foot.
Oh,
a
what?
foot.
Yeah. For 2,000, is that right?
2,000
Doesn't
hertz
seem right.
takes a half a foot to do one cycle.
That's
God,
impressive.
Is that
so
what
is
we're
like
saying?
50 hertz, 40
6.78
hertz.
inches.
Damn. That's cool.
So if your problems, like, which is crazy to think about, if your problems, now you can half it because that's really where you start getting into like ability to solve this. But basically, your divots need to at some point solve for 6-inch gaps.
Right.
Like that's if you want to use diffusion to fix
Right.
it. Like you need it's interesting.
So
what is 40
perhaps
hertz?
you could do like a
40
After
hertz
you
is
do that.
crazy.
6-inch like wing,
40
like a
hertz is 28 feet.
like a like a roof scoop,
a roof scoop.
on a
Yeah.
car.
Mm-hmm.
Just have like a guy that's on your desk.
Oh,
Be
man.
That's
pretty
like a little
sick
scoop.
looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
that'd be
couple
fun.
scoops on the edge just to give
Are
you
they-
some like race car dust.
Are they facing the speaker so the speaker
Little
goes
half
right
pipe?
into them?
Yeah, maybe.
Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the
Have
thing.
them
is-
like just eat it
Yeah.
and down to the
And
ground.
down into you so they just
Yeah.
Pretty
hit your
fun.
so they blow your skirt a little bit.
I mean,
Caleb.
A little.
Oh
While
yeah,
you're hitting
double.
that 30 hertz.
Yeah, two birds and get stoned.
That's right.
Mhm.
yep.
Cheers.
And
So-
Austin was just asking what the wavelength of a 40 hertz tone is, and it's almost 30 feet. Isn't that insane?
It's big.
That's like the size of this flat
30.
we're in right now.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 feet. That's
Speaking of which,
huge.
it's getting kind of chilly. I'm gonna close the window.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got
Did you guys see that bird fly by also? That was pretty cool.
Yep, that's cool.
So what is the point where it's just not even worth it to try and treat everything acoustically? Because even with things like SonarWorks, it gets it relatively flat, And then now you're talking about like adding stuff to the desk and like your crazy ass bass trap designs, and it's like it's so like it's like what is it taking away? Like maybe 0.1 decibel sometimes, 0.2 here and there, like.
I mean, you'd be surprised how much it actually does. And remember, it's yes, it is like it eventually gets to a point of diminishing returns where the more work you do, like you're gonna get little bits like smaller and smaller amounts of like help as far as like what with the input you're putting in. But that's why with the flow that I've built or kind of determined, like you're tackling the absolute most impactful stuff and you're working your way towards less and less impactful things to the point of, I mean, the very last step with EQ correction can be a pretty big one, but you shouldn't actually be doing that until you've finished processing.
You want to do
your
everything you can possibly do before you EQ.
Right.
Yes.
Do you want to run us through that process?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've
Be
talked
happy
about
to.
We
this
have
step
not.
by step yet.
Have not. So like the steps, I was trying to make it a cool like acronym you could say as a word. I was trying to make it SPLADS.
Oh, how cute!
But
Splads.
SPLADS.
The thing is the P and the L actually should have the L first and the P after. But so
What
S
can you do, folks?
is space. First and foremost is your room, and that was something that just upstairs with David, we were just doing room analysis and understanding like what can we do with this space and like where should things go, and under that like you have the listening position, which is the first thing you really want to figure out. You kind of have to do that in tandem with the speaker placement, but listening position is ultimately going to be the thing that really defines where you can put your speakers, because there's just the biggest thing about like when you look at space. Pull up a website for me. I want to show you this website called Amrock.
Okay. Mouse is freaking out.
It's all good.
We got to go over here.
Login verification code. What's up, baby?
Oh, nice. What's up?
Security.
This isn't even on the right. What is it?
AMROC, and just hit enter. And we'll click the first one. Yep, the room mode calculator, or the and make us a little smaller. Cool. So what this website does, and it's pretty cool. Will we get audio if we if like the website makes sound?
Yeah.
We will. Okay, cool.
You should.
So just be careful.
It's a professional show, John.
Obviously.
When you put the information in, like, just so you know, the middle section that's going to pop up, it'll actually make noises, and if you go too high, it's going to make everybody have a really bad day.
Okay.
But
Sounds
if you
great.
put in like some length and width information, let's put like 20, and then 15, and whoop.
Looks like something still mapped.
Classic.
Always 400.
All right.
All right.
Nice.
All right.
Let me not use numlock. We're talking compression here.
I was
15
crossing my fingers for the drum roll.
30?
I don't know which one it is.
feet.
I mean, that's the height of the room. 30?
Oh.
30 feet?
For some reason, my brain.
It's a big room.
Let's do like 8 feet.
Oh, I was
That's like
gonna
a
say
pretty...
9.
It's kind of an interesting flat we're in.
So, if you see below, let's see here. Let me pull this down. You've got scroll up a little. So first of all, in the keyboard section, because I used to look at this stuff and be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at.
I think it's just showing you where the hertz collide with notes.
Yeah, well, just the nodes in general. I wasn't
Right.
honestly, I didn't understand like what I was supposed to do with this information. The honest thing is, you're not really supposed to do much. It's really just something to be aware of. This is something that's really helpful if you're trying to like initially build a room, and that's actually what that bolt area. There's a certain formula that a guy named with the last name Bolt basically came up with.
Right.
Yeah, and you can see like there's a white kind of blob. If you can have your room dimensions, put that X that you see on there in that spot, like in that white section, then basically you will have like the best time trying to find a good place for your speakers to go.
Is this the room?
No, so
I don't
check
understand
this
how
out.
this
Scroll up. Change the length to 15.
Okay, so it's a square.
Yeah, and you'll see. Watch where the X goes.
Squirt.
See how it moved?
Oh, that X. I see.
That little X. So now maybe make the width like 10. And see how it's like now we're on the other side. Now you can. What if you make the width like 11 or 12? And you can see, basically, if you wanted to actually frame a room and try to make it be a pretty easy room to work with after the fact.
You want to try and get that X in the bolt area?
Yes, in the bolt area.
I see.
So
Here, do 13. Length 13.
Sorry.
Width.
No, don't turn it on.
Nope.
Don't
Okay.
turn it on. I just need to get over the habit of using it while I'm just at a keyboard.
What is it? It's 9, I think, is my room.
And then...
And it's like, 8 is probably close enough.
yeah, so
Yeah, because right here is your door. And here's the bathroom.
Right.
So it's just like...
Assuming it's
over here in
a
the corner.
room size,
Well,
even though it's not.
that's-
But it is pretty close to
Yeah,
it.
how are you supposed to represent this to whatever you're putting it in?
it's really just showing you if you were to build a room, like just lay it down on paper. It's telling you if it's going to be an easy acoustic experience
in
or not.
general.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in here, it's
Is it going to treat you well, or is it not going to treat you well?
Exactly.
Treat.
That's the thing, and it's also maybe good to know.
It's double meaning.
It also it also helps you to know if you're gonna if the room's gonna be a bitch to work with. Like,
Right.
if you put in your calculations and you're like, oh my god, I'm literally off the chart. Like I'm nowhere near it. Which happens. Like when I did my room, it was pretty far out of it. So you just whenever you do that, you start to do more drastic. You take drastic measures to solve all the problems. So yeah, this is a cool website though because you can put in your calculation for your own room, have a speaker set up, and then as you hover over each of those like bars in the middle, it actually will. It basically gives you each node, and you can see in that little 3D chart where the frequency buildup's going to be. Now the blue and the red don't actually mean anything different other than
these are areas.
It's just visually trying to help you see it, because if everything was red,
right, especially when you get to like here and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's cool is like how, I mean, really what this is helpful for is if you like maybe go to like go like
dude.
to like the third or fourth one. So imagine if you had a room that you really want to make sure to take care of that frequency, then you know I need to put a lot of treatment that's going to be able to deal with 43 hertz tones. Like remember when we were talking about that steel membrane that you might want to tune? Well, that's the frequency you need to build it to.
Right.
And then you know where you want to put it in the room.
This makes sense here because it's basically telling you to put traps in the corners.
Exactly. But yeah, in
for like 48 hertz.
But the thing is as you go up, you start to see like different places. So that's an interesting one. You can see you want to make sure you have some material at the middle sections to deal with like a 57 hertz frequency.
Oh, that one's interesting. 66.
It's cool how they build up on the ground. Yeah. So those are that's the thing, is a lot of people don't think about the floor corners.
Right.
Between the wall and the floor you're
it's
standing
like
on.
Bouncing and then bouncing up and then bouncing back and then bouncing up.
That one.
Crazy.
And what's cool is you can actually do this in your room and just walk around and listen to these tones and be like, wow, yep, they're literally there.
I'm going to do that later.
You should.
That sounds like fun.
You should. It's
right.
pretty interesting.
So 125, you need to put treatment in the entire room. The entire room needs to be filled with foam.
Everywhere.
Wild.
What that really actually shows you, though, is go back to that one, actually. Because another thing, too, is you have to think about diffusion. Maybe I want to put lateral, like they have quadratic diffusers, which are meant for sound to be coming in from a horizontal direction versus a vertical direction. So this kind of tells you, okay, if I want to deal with certain frequencies, there's certain acoustic devices that are meant to actually have sound come in from one axis or another. And they work better than the ones that are, like if you see the skyline, like little cityscape looking ones, those are less effective, but they do work both directions. Like sound could be coming from
right.
left
It can
or
come
upwards
or down.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is the bolt area on this is
Right on the tip.
almost off the map.
Yeah, but you're just on the tip. Like you're
That's
close
true.
to it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's like it's not
You're
too bad of a
within
spot.
a square.
Yeah.
Yeah, within one block, I can move that stone.
Yeah, and I mean if you scroll down, there's more information if you really wanted to get into it. It's more this spot right here. It shows you essentially what your decay time is going to be in the room.
Where?
RT60, 0.6 seconds is like the reverb decay time, I think.
Okay.
I don't know what the Schroeder frequency is.
It's decaying for half a second.
And let's see here. There was one other thing. Oh, yeah. So you see the average absorption coefficient needed. So something interesting about that is how it's actually telling you, like, if you look at acoustic materials like like rock wool or whatever, there's the companies will put out those guides or their spec sheets that'll have the absorption coefficient, and it'll show you the actual average absorption coefficient of the material. So you can actually use this to figure out what frequency and what material is best suited for dealing with that. Granted, this going in that deep, I don't think is necessary. Granted. Granite?
Not granite. Granite's not a good material.
Granite is not a good material.
Okay.
No, not a good material.
What's interesting is it says here equivalent absorption area needed, and it's not nearly this. I mean, it makes sense, obviously.
So that's how much, that's the volume of material.
Right. 290 square feet out of 3,500.
Yes.
Which is a good amount.
Yeah.
It's like close to 10%.
Yeah.
Of your room should be treated.
Which, I mean, it's a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
When you really think about
that's what I'm
10% of your room? Yeah.
That's a good amount of volume.
Yeah.
10% volume. That's a lot.
Yes.
Not
Not
surface
just like
area.
surface, yeah.
Yeah. It's volume.
It's It's pretty crazy.
So
Yeah, it's
fill
square.
the room with foam.
Fill the room with
Like I
foam.
said,
10% of foam.
10%.
Mm-hmm.
10% of the room with foam.
Yeah.
You'll be good, folks.
Did we do the entire list of things?
No.
No.
So like I was really just talking about the space right there. Listening position is, like I said, you use this to just educate yourself on all the problem spots you might have in your room. Ideally, you want to have like where those nodes are. You want to have like as much space as you can, especially in the low frequency area. Like you want to have nice big wide gaps between each room mode. That builds up because it's really like if they're all in this space that you're typically trying to make music in, like if your kick drum and your sub and everything is right there, then it's going to obviously be a big problem. But yeah, from there and moving on to like listening position, the biggest thing about that, yeah. So
Real fast, Caleb, can you hand me the bottle opener?
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man, I almost hit the window here.
I'll just to make
Be
it quick,
careful.
I'll run through just the things for a second and then move on to like a couple other things later. But
Deal.
yeah, so there's like listening position and speaker placement. Then after you've got your actual location set up, that's when you want to focus on absorption. And absorption first. Don't do diffusion unless you actually think you need it. But
Right. to
9
bring
times
it
out of
back.
10, you don't need it. Like it's something that if you're in the professional environment, it might be something you want. It does make sense for certain things. Like if you have weird, again, it comes down to comb filtering. If you got like weird drops of certain frequencies just because like you got a flat surface that you've already got, like there's two things that are really going on. And I actually have it written down here. The acoustic characteristics of sound in a room are made up of two primary components, and there's the room's frequency response, and then there's the decay response, which are two completely separate things. They do kind of go hand in hand in a way, but the biggest thing is you don't fix one while fixing the other. You have to actually deal with them individually. Absorption material is literally only going to fix your decay response. It will not fix frequency response. And the thing that everybody thinks...
You're getting rid of reverb and
Right,
echo
right.
in your
Yeah.
room.
And sometimes
absorption.
it messes with EQ a little bit, but it's more like the ringing of certain tones that happen in your room. The only things that actually...
Oversaturation of high end.
Yeah, exactly.
Perceived high end.
And honestly, the only things that actually fix frequency response are moving your speakers around, changing your listening position, having a different pair of speakers, and then EQ correction. Like, that's it. Technically, you could say some diffusion will help with that too, but
It's not gonna fix the comb.
It could if it was a massive diffuser. That's the thing. If it was
like a whole wall.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
your
a
back
skyline.
walls.
or going back to like the desk reflection stuff. If I had diffusers on my
Right.
my desk, they're not trying to handle like
What if you glue nothing but Legos on your desk?
that would
So it's-
probably
so
be
it's
really
a bunch
good.
of little.
It would probably be
Folks.
really good, dude. Actually,
We're
just
about to have a Lego desk
that actually would be genius.
because you can buy
You
just
could
sheets.
build
You
dope
can just
shit.
but you can buy sheets of Lego.
Dude.
They're a foot by a foot, and then you just
oh
glue
my
them
God.
on.
That's genius.
You
And
could
then-
also have a Lego thing that you put into it, and then it creates a nice flat surface for when you're not
Yeah.
That's true.
making
That's true.
tunes.
Yeah, you put it on there. Yeah. So you
Easy
can
to
put your
clean.
arm on there.
The fucking nerdiest shit
Dude.
I've ever heard in
And
my
then
life.
I could easily place
But
my
brilliant.
Stormtrooper minifigures on there.
Oh,
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
Dave. Dave knows.
But honestly, that's
Dave
like a
knows
great
sports.
a
So.
great point. Like I never even thought about Legos.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to do some tweaking tomorrow.
yeah. But
Your boys got Legos, dog?
yeah, that's definitely that's the biggest thing is like I think for the longest time I kind of knew in the back of my head that like room placement of speakers and mic like positioning was like an important thing, but The biggest problem I always had was I didn't know really where to start, and I just, it is like a thing that you can be pretty lost on. Like you don't. I mean, like you look at a room.
It's confusing, dude.
Well, I mean, when you're starting out, you can't even hear what the fuck is going on in your music in general. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, try and get yourself to like have some sort of understanding on like what the low end should sound like in any position. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's like it just blew my mind as I started diving into doing this and putting some real time into just being present and doing it. And I mean, like you saw, Dave, like as we did it, like you start to see it unfold and the room starts talking to you as you're actually like paying attention to every single snapshot we were taking.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you start to see
it's like, hey, Dave.
Yeah. Hey, man.
What's going on?
You should move it over there.
Hey,
maybe.
What's the program you use to measure your speakers?
Room EQ Wizard.
All right. And that's free?
Free, and I'd recommend everyone to try it. It looks really scary, but it really, you don't need to know a lot.
I'm sure there's some like simple tutorials on it too.
I honestly struggled finding them.
Oh, nice. Well, like, good luck, folks.
I want to make a tutorial after all this.
Yeah.
Kind of covering it because there's like literally just 10 things you need to know. Just like click here, make sure this is good. And then after you do all that, it's as you saw, like it's literally just click the button, wait, move the thing, click the button, wait. And as you're doing that, it's just building up like a whole array of all the tests that you're doing, and you can start just comparing and flipping through them.
Yeah, we walked around my room with one single speaker.
Yep.
Did sweeps in all sorts of different places with different listening positions, and found a very unlikely position to be ideal.
Yeah,
it was weird.
And by sweeps, he means he let the program make a tone. Yeah.
Yep,
and
just like
that's
that.
what it meant.
Just like that.
And you did use a omnidirectional mic.
So you want to use a calibration mic.
People at home know what's happening here.
Measurement mic. We use the actual SonarWorks mic.
It's true.
And with that, you can, if you have a SonarWorks mic and you want to use it, there is a calibration file you can go download. Just literally just Google SonarWorks calibration file, and it'll take you to their website and give you a link to click it.
Because you'll need that to put into the EQ Wizard.
It basically tells EQ Wizard what the EQ shape of the microphone is, so that it can kind of like correct
adjust
for that.
Own.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
But
Very
I mean,
good.
that's one of the things. I think one huge misconception about acoustics that everybody, like we were talking about this. We always thought it was bad to put speakers next to a wall. Like, I mean, maybe, I think when I first started out, I didn't even know that concept. But then at a certain point, I read something somewhere that it's bad. And it just like, it was a thing that I had ingrained in my mind that was the thing you do. But after like digging actually into this stuff, I'm finding more and more that like, it's sometimes a thing you need to do to actually fix the room.
Right, to get the right frequency response.
Yeah, because as you move the speakers closer to the wall, you literally will watch like the giant dips that you might be having in your signal, like just start to come up and come up and come up, and as you get closer and closer to the wall, like eventually it doesn't necessarily flatten out.
No, but it gets better.
Exactly, it's actually getting better. The big thing you have to deal with at that point is like, is the position of the other speaker you're going to put in the room like still making sense? Are you putting it in a good spot?
Right.
In general, because like there might be perfect positions that you want to set your stuff up in, but they sometimes don't make any sense at all for like living situations.
No, for sure. Like
middle of a living room or something.
Right. Or yeah, it's basically like you got to pick a speaker that you want to start with, and then figure out where that works best with. Work on that one, figure out where it becomes as flat as possible, or you reduce the amount of combing happening. And by combing, I mean giant dips in your frequency response. Mm-hmm. And then after you get that one pretty well, you can then kind of judge more so where you want the next speaker, let's say the right, and you can kind of start measuring him alone until you kind of get him in an area that'll work with where your listening position is.
And it sounds scary or like a lot of work, but it really is like once you start doing it,
You just got to do it.
Well, it's literally like 3 seconds in between every snapshot if you want. Like,
Right. It
you
just
click-
plays
you
a
click-
quick tone.
Yeah, you literally click go, it does the thing.
Yeah, we
Prints the
worked
image.
for 45 minutes.
Yeah. And
Maybe.
we did like 30 scans.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I'm intrigued to
Like-
see
Yeah.
your SonarWorks before and after.
Yeah, I am
Ooh.
as well.
Yeah. I would love to see that. We
Yeah.
should run that
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, I'm down.
That'd be pretty cool.
Stop talking dirty.
We'll post that in the
yeah, we're gonna
Discord,
run
ladies and
that
gentlemen,
later.
for everybody who's curious.
You can go to always400.com, and that'll lead you straight to the Discord.
SonarWorks.
We'll
Can I
send you
hit
a
that
signed photo of Dave's SonarWorks print of his room.
That's right.
It's like a
Yeah.
pinup calendar.
Yeah.
Different EQ shapes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we should have taken some screenshots of the calculations we took.
I mean, we got them all.
Yeah, for
On
sure.
your computer?
Yeah. Well, not here.
Yeah,
But on.
but
You
they're
mean for
upstairs.
here? Yeah.
For the podcast.
For the
is what I was
podcast, yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
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 Well, we were already running late. Sorry, folks.
You can ask if you want to see
Yeah.
them.
If you want to see it,
I'm betting
if you want to know how to
nobody
do
cares.
it, yeah,
That
just hit us
much.
up.
I bet the one person in
Yeah.
chat cares. Mo.
As Mo
Dang
and
it.
Jet.
There it
Maybe.
is.
She.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
Bussin'.
So,
Respectfully.
do you guys have any misconceptions
No,
that you
but
were aware of? Things that just like for the longest time
in terms
you
of
thought was true, and then eventually realized like my life is a lie.
well, similar on that trope was putting the speakers too close to the wall until the last studio where I had it more pulled back in a small room, maybe 15 by 10. And I was going lengthwise, and I was kind of in my listening position was like 45% in the room. So it wasn't 50. It wasn't like halfway in the room, but it was like a little bit
It's
up.
pretty deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but pretty deep. And so I had a big dip at around 80 to 110 hertz, like a real big dip. And so I was like trying to figure out how to get rid of that, and I ended up pushing the speakers close against, just basically butting up against my panels on my back wall. And that caused that dip to move up to about 230, and it'd be about half the size.
Yep. And
And
then
so I was like-
now it's a thing that you can really deal with and think about.
But I didn't understand, like now, after doing this with you, now I understand why
Yep.
and stuff like that. But before I was like, well, that's weird. I
Just
thought
got
that wasn't.
better.
I thought that wasn't supposed to work, and I was kind of concerned the whole time. I was like,
Right.
it is better, but I'm concerned.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, doesn't seem like the way you're supposed to put the speakers.
Right,
though.
right, yeah. But now it's like, well, math is math. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Hashtag
that's
gross math.
hashtag
gross
gross
math.
math. That's what I'm
Yep.
saying, folks.
Hashtag.
I keep seeing
Gross.
this thing recently in like really nice professional studios. I noticed that their speaker setup isn't like a perfect equilateral triangle. It seems like on at least like the majority of them that I see, maybe it's just like a weird camera angle or something, but it's like a further spread, and they're kind of a little bit closer to it. So do you think, is
I
it
think-
possible that...
Yeah, me and Dave were having a discussion.
We were
about
talking about this earlier. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Heated. It was a heated.
It was.
discussion.
I got very
Interesting.
angry,
We
and
were
then
yelling.
Dave threw a plate at me.
Oh
Yeah.
my god,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
crazy.
that crash was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It all
Yeah,
makes
he
very
sense.
heated.
fucking deserved it.
I
Seems like it.
did. I did. Yep.
I will say I was actually reading
that.
into that because I questioned that very, very much.
I get the math behind it, but it's like,
But I don't.
how much leeway is
What
there?
about 45 degrees? Why isn't having speakers at 45 degrees the right, like left, right?
you
placement?
can't? I mean,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
Why
for
does
sure.
it have to be a 60 degree? Between them.
My brain was just like the speakers have to meet, or the sound has to meet at the equidistance.
Sure.
But then again, yeah.
But what about if you
Right.
just break the symmetry in that
Right,
sense?
Yeah, they're
right,
still hitting
exactly.
your
I don't
ear at
know.
the same time.
Does breaking the
Just
symmetry
the
break
space
the
in
sound?
between.
Yeah.
I think I mean from
This
what
is
I
what I was
reading-
yelling about earlier.
Yeah.
I feel like you could just
No,
come
you-
further away.
No, you threw a
or
plate at me,
closer.
Dave.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a plate right over there if you want to go around too.
Oh no,
Okay.
I'm good right now.
Oh, wait.
I'm feeling pretty soft right now. I'm having a good time. I have a couple beers in me.
I think
Fucking hard as. Go on.
Well, I was just gonna say I think the reason I mean, the reason for it, the goal of the equilateral triangle is really just, it's supposed to be a great starting point.
Base
for,
level.
I think it's stereo. It's the
Right.
stereo imagery.
Yes.
That's really it. It's not even so much the bass, because the bass is like everything that we just did. Like it's really the stereo imaging that like is essentially the maximum. It's supposed to maximize your ear's ability to hear stereo.
Gotcha.
Really?
That's essentially what I read.
Huh.
The thing is, what's funny is like I googled this, and the main people that were actually arguing about this were people who do like theater setup, and not home theater, but like movie theater, professional theater environments.
Yes.
Oh.
The
And-
theater.
And they were all
Which that
talking
makes
about
sense.
45
Dolby Atmos.
degrees. That's the thing. They
Interesting.
said it's a range.
It's
So
a range of what?
between like 45 degrees and 60
60.
degrees.
Which makes sense if, say, for example, there's a very specific sound happening on the screen, and it's a large screen. So you want to
Yeah.
make sure that sound comes from the top right.
Well, and some people are sitting further up.
Right, true.
Some people are sitting way back.
Yep. So you got to meet in the middle
Yep.
with that.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why the best spot to sit
Some
is in the middle of the
compromise.
theater, in the middle.
Yeah.
Duh, fucks.
Yeah.
If you're at a
Interesting.
concert, right
that
next
makes
to
a
the
lot of
sound guy.
sense. Yeah.
Okay,
as
so
always.
Correct.
so when we decide to finally start going 5.1 setups and get our surround studios going,
Mm-hmm.
how
Mhm.
fucked is the acoustic treatment going to be for that? Is
Fucked.
that just going to be like a
Uh,
whole new ball game?
Here's the thing. Your room's EQ is still the same.
That's true.
No
Okay.
matter where you put your speakers, like the
Mm.
EQ of the room is essentially like a speaker cabinet which has the
Yeah.
same resonances
Yeah.
and buildups. That's not changing.
That
You're
makes
just
sense.
putting more
Yeah.
sound
Yeah.
in the room.
It's interesting because where I was sitting,
Okay.
the way I set my studio up initially, which was just the ideal spot for my desk to be in my room, and that is all.
Yeah.
It was just
It like visually
it
looked
was-
like the thing that
yeah,
made
it
sense.
was
Right.
it was like just center and
You had a doorway to your right.
convenient, so I could go through,
Yeah.
you know, or whatever. And now it's completely different in another corner and not quite the whole room.
It doesn't even feel centered. It,
It's
like,
not centered.
It looks awkward.
It looks weird as fuck. And then if you stand in that same spot where my listening position was, the bass is still not showing up.
It's
Yep.
gone.
It's still gone, even with
Oh.
the speakers being in a completely different place.
Yeah.
But when you stand in where the listening position is now, it's saucy.
Nice and subby. Yeah.
Saucy.
Yep.
Yeah.
That brings
Sounds
me
nice.
to a small side note.
Always.
Always 400 folks.
I like how it just stopped.
Right.
It's got a gate on it. It's gated
I
sampler.
was watching TikTok, obviously, and Excellent Sound. Shout out Excellent Sound. They had a small little TikTok where they were talking about you can't get engrossed with the visual. Just basically
Yep.
talking about doing automation on a sound, and you're like, oh, I want to have the automation like symmetrical, just because you're an artist and you're in the midst of a moment, and you're like, oh, it'll be cool because it looks cool.
We create these
No.
biases.
Yeah, right. Who cares about what it's
Yeah.
just data. What
Yeah.
are you hearing? That's the number one thing
What
with
sounds like the thing
us. Right,
you want.
sounds.
yeah, that's
That's
one
what
of
they're
the
looking
things
for.
that is different DAW to DAW
Yeah, 100%.
is that curve. It's going to be different.
right.
If you do a straight
Yep.
Yeah.
eighth note single zoop
Automation thing.
automation thing, it will be different in every DAW.
Yep.
100%.
So
same.
listen to it instead.
Mhm.
Yep.
And that's
You know that thing that everybody tells you on every
Forever.
tip ever about audio thing?
Listening.
Just make sure your ears like it, bro. Like, okay, all right.
But it looks cool.
And then once your ears work, you're like, you just gotta use your ears.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean that's like the perfect example for me myself is like at the studio that I was building out. I had this vision of where everything was gonna go, and I was gonna build these like prototype bass diffusers that I was hoping. I mean, it was a complete experiment. I wasn't even
Sure,
sure
but
if they were gonna work.
Totally.
But
Where do you go if not just down the road?
true. But the thing is like I was doing my speaker placement last night finally, and I realized that the speakers are they're literally their best spot in the room, along with the listening position, is pushed forward, and it basically the speaker sits right where these things were going to sit in the room, and so now
Perfect.
I can't
in
have
the
them
corner.
anymore. Yeah, they're like right in front of the bass
So
traps.
if your speakers are in your corner like that, you're going to be way back, right?
Yeah, I'm like all the way back. There's so much, which is honestly, it's great because like it makes me rethink what I can do with the room. I'm gonna have a lot more space to set up like my modular rack back further.
Right. No,
Yeah.
you'll have a lot. I'm intrigued right now by my stuff back here. I'm like,
Yeah, you got a big old space to work with. What's going to happen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if I do some measurements before there's a wall up.
yep. And the one thing I
Interesting.
thought about this, I didn't read it anywhere, but I've just like thought a lot about how like the weird thing about my room. David's seen it. It's super long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like a good width, but it's just really long.
Yeah. How does the
Longer
X
than your last
show
one?
up on the
Yeah.
What?
On the
It's
bolt
like
meter.
bolt meter
It's like
for
a whole
you?
other third longer.
Yeah. How does the
Wow,
X?
that's up there.
Did you look at the bolt meter for your room?
And it wasn't too good.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't too good. It definitely was like kind of out there.
Oh,
on its
no.
own.
How would
But
you measure the bolt meter, or how would you measure the room that we're in right now? For
Honestly,
this, would you just come to
your
this?
major walls? Yeah, this
Yeah.
guy here.
Okay, cool.
And
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would.
What about this? Like cutaway that happens over here. The wall kind of goes
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it cuts.
I would maybe measure like try 2 different dimensions.
Yeah,
Mm.
like an
And what I would
in-between
do
or
is I would,
something.
you know how you can hover over those nodes?
Mm-hmm.
You can basically do those.
Oh, you
and
can
then
just
walk
go listen
and
around
go
and,
try
like,
to see
and
like which
see.
one is actually the one.
Right.
Use
You
your
might
ears.
you might find like they're
a
kinda
little bit
both.
of both, I would imagine.
Yeah, but that's
Hmm.
the thing is like that's how you can help determine like which one is closer. Is
Right.
you just consider it as if it was both shapes or both dimensions, and then use that kind of tool to figure out like which one's actually closer in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Sick.
sense. You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here.
Always 400.
Guys, this is a lot of fun.
A tantalizing episode.
Brand new studio.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the tip. It's just the tip. Just
Tip
to
of the
see how it
iceberg.
feels.
Yep, this
You
was
know?
the warm-up.
Just a tip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there will be many more from this location and in other locations. Like this one. No.
That was sick. Let's go.
Or this one.
Wow, that one's
Yeah.
so fun.
This is a
This is
yoga
dope.
studio.
Oh, this is pretty good.
You need to have like fake legs for all of us.
I'll do some
Yeah, right.
yoga.
There's gonna be some blendering that happens.
Yeah,
to
we're
create
gonna
the
we're gonna get
desk
fun with it.
Nice.
and everything, but I gotta like take a snapshot and then bring it into Blender, figure out the aspect ratio of GoPro so I can match
Oh, wow.
the camera. Because it's a fisheye lens, so I gotta get the right.
Like the way it diffracts.
What's the term?
Or-
Someone in chat's gonna kill me.
Yeah, if there was anybody in chat.
I mean YouTube chat, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all got me.
Comments.
You said it the other day. I can't think of it. You're talking about like
Aspect
the
ratio.
depth
Yes.
of the fisheye.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's
Aperture.
No,
no,
not quite.
close.
That's how the light, what the light takes in.
It's not exposure either. What is that called? Focal length.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
That's the word, ladies and gentlemen. Focal length.
Focal length.
Well, what else you got? You got go back up to your list.
Yeah. So like
we did
We
space, listening position, speaker placement,
Talked a bunch about
absorption,
that.
and
Yeah.
then basically
Diffusion and
diffusion
then EQ.
is the
Speaker
next
and
one,
EQ.
which you were
Yeah.
like, don't need necessarily right
Yeah,
off the gate.
it's one of those things that like
Pretty high level.
it's if you're starting out, don't worry about it. It's something that once you're educated enough, you'll know when you need it.
You
Right.
need a lot of
Right.
XP.
Yeah,
Yeah, good
you need
amount
to be
of
level
XP.
50 at
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
Oh damn.
And then
Yeah.
EQ correction. There's no really other way
Oh, no.
for main.
Wait, what? Wait, go ahead.
There's, yeah. Let me finish the
Yep,
question.
yep.
There's no other way in terms of generic, general public consumption than SonarWorks, or are there other programs out there that do the same thing that are
So
competitive?
it depends on how hands-on you want to get.
I like the sound
You
of that.
could build an EQ
Sure. Okay.
You could literally just build an EQ, and I mean, I think I remember there was a time where you were doing that at one point. You had like a whole pro Q.
I was trying to help him do that at one point.
That was so much fun.
A nightmare too.
So it actually kind of helped my room a little bit, but on export it was just fucked. Like trying to work with it in a song, but yeah, continue.
Oh yeah, no,
you would have to turn it off. Yeah,
you have to turn it off
export
it.
That's the thing about
it,
like remember that's one of the compromises of going that direction. One thing that a lot of people don't know that they can do, like I didn't even know this was a thing until I met Detox Unit and went over to his studio.
Dropping names.
You can go, shout out Joe.
Shout out Detox.
He loves spaghetti.
Shout out Joe.
Who doesn't?
He loves spaghetti.
Everybody loves spaghetti.
Oh yeah.
Palm sweating.
But essentially, you can get a little DSP box for like $30 or $40.
Okay.
Run digital audio into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they even have analog ones. I'd probably stay digital if you can because it's cheaper. Like if you get a cheap analog one,
in it.
Exactly. Like even if do you want cheap converters on from a $40 box?
Sure.
Honestly, I don't know how bad it's gonna really be, but
can't be that good.
Exactly. Like it's probably best to just stay digital and then kind of convert it elsewhere.
Right.
But so it's a little more advanced. I haven't even done it. So, but the thing is you can take the EQ information that we get out of something like Room EQ Wizard and actually export it
and then just
import
reverse it.
Yeah, you can I think Room EQ Wizard has an ability to actually export a reverse, or you can flip it or something, and you can import that. Remember how we remember how we opened that microphone calibration file?
Yeah.
It's just all those lines of information. It's basically that.
20 plus 1.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
21.06.
You can basically export one of those and then upload it or import it into this little box.
Damn.
And it has it saved in there. So now you can run SonarWorks, but the thing is now you can
But it's hardware.
Yeah, it's hardware.
Build it.
And again, it's not that far away from being attainable. Like I said, it's like $40 or $50.
But then again, the nice thing about SonarWorks, I would say, in a devil's advocate way, is you map an area around the listening position, and it kind of gives you an average, so you can move around, and you're still in the listening position.
What's funny is I ran the GLM software, which is Genelex's version of SonarWorks.
Mm-hmm.
It only does 2 sweeps. It doesn't make you do it all over.
That's crazy.
Exactly. So
it's beautiful.
Fuck off, SonarWorks.
It's like SonarWorks is literally it's dummy proofed things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've done
basically
that to average it a lot for people who just don't know what they're doing. And the biggest thing is you can get away with 1 scan. Technically.
I kind of believe you. How much is there a difference in
exactly
a foot and a half of range?
You're gonna get what you're gonna get.
Right. Unless you get up and go stand by the door, obviously there's going to be a different sound.
Well, and the thing I will say with SonarWorks, it's averaging it all. So the best sound that you're going to get in the center may not even be the best with SonarWorks because it's
because there might be a drop off over here. There might be a node back here that it's picking up. Yeah, 100%.
That's the thing is you might actually not have the best out of it. And the thing that I hear from everyone, and I hear it myself when listening to stuff that's been EQ'd with SonarWorks, the high-end stereo imaging suffers.
I would agree with that.
It definitely causes some phase issues, and a lot of my friends that do production with it, they actually they'll work with SonarWorks only blended in 50% or 60% to help reduce that.
I've definitely noticed when you match the level output and you switch back and forth, just the high end loses a little bit of energy.
Yeah, it's
but I just
assumed
it was the EQ, and I just boosted it a little
dealt with
hot.
it.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually it's over phasing, and one of the things I noticed that blew my mind, I didn't realize it was a way that companies do it, but with the GLM software, it doesn't when it did the correction for my speakers the first time and I looked at it, I was like, where's the boosts? It was all dips.
Yeah.
It
That's
only
what
does
Dave
notching.
was talking about, which I mentioned to him in a lot of YouTube videos. The main theme when it comes to EQing is try to cut before you boost. And it's kind of cool
People
to
talk
see
about that a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to see that sticking true to that because that always
It's like
made
mixing
sense to me.
EQing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
Which
if you do
stick
boost,
to
it's
that like a
usually
motherfucker.
big. Like you have
Big
a very
yeah.
low
Sound
Q
design
low Q.
boosts are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, low
Or
Q.
low
low
Q
Q.
boost.
Yeah.
So it's a really wide kind of bell,
Right.
or this shelving is like
Right.
getting
You're not
boosted.
just grabbing a.
Yeah, you're not bringing up single things, and that's because it creates like really weird phase issues. It also causes like ringing and resonant problems. It's not natural.
There's like a decay thing that happens
Exactly.
when you boost that makes it more resonant, and then when you pull down, you're just really just eating it. It's just like
Exactly.
eating that.
It's
so
the
if you have a
subtractive-
tone you need more of, you just take on either side of it and just kind of little bit down on
Little
either
guys.
side of
Yeah.
it, and it can kind of bring it out.
Yeah, and that's actually what I ended up doing for the EQ of my room. Rather like because I first ran it before I even placed them, and I just wanted to see what it looked like with it. And when I realized it didn't do any boosting, I was like, okay, so the goal here just became instead of letting the software just boost these combs up,
Try
to force
and
them out.
manually do it.
Well, I needed to move them around so those combs were literally just gone, and all I had were mountains or peaks in my EQ that I had to deal with. So then I just let the GLM software only dip everything, and I think it's definitely a lot better.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Who we got in
What's
the
up,
chat?
Hung Music?
We're
Excuse
excited
me if
for
I
anybody in the
spell
chat.
It wrong.
Yo yo,
Spell
Let's
it.
go. What's up, G?
Well, shoot us a follow, my dude.
welcome, bro.
Yeah,
It's a
Come on in.
professional show.
Talking about a bunch of acoustics.
Yep,
today.
talking about acoustic stuff.
It's been fun. It's
If
been
you
super
missed,
fun.
if
We're
you
on
missed
YouTube.
any of this, yeah, it'll be on YouTube later.
Always400.com.
Oh,
Hey,
What's
the
up,
boy.
man?
Chee.
Cheers to you, sir.
On God.
wow.
I'm out.
Always 400.
You gotta spam it like. We're
This
pro,
is a
clearly.
professional podcast.
We just became monkeys.
So yeah, we basically just went over. I don't know how long you've been here, my guy. Just went over a bunch of stuff about acoustically treating your studio room, and all the bits and tidbits that go into that, and kind of a new way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
In terms of figuring out where to place your speakers one at a time in the room to make the room work best for you, as opposed to putting your speakers in the room and then putting, for example, diffusers or sound paneling around to try and help the room.
Yeah, I'd say it's like a lot of times people just tackle it blindly. Like that's like
for
the
sure.
way I think about it now, which is not. There's no shame in that. Like we
No.
just don't know.
Yeah, it's just hard to see.
exactly.
It's only been
really
around
is.
for
When
a
you're
little
blind.
bit. Like the home studio's been around for like
Zing.
20 years.
Hey.
Maybe. I missed it.
But yeah, I mean that's like the main stuff I had. I mean I can go
Cool.
really quickly over a couple quick misconceptions. We talked about a couple of them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
want. So
Yeah, we're over time.
We're at an hour.
And-
At an hour.
So
And we can go as long as we want.
anything after this is
because
bonus.
this is our show.
Sure.
Oh, damn.
He says, I 100% do agree with having a decent setup, but it's definitely not going to make or break your productions if it's up to some crazy standard. But yeah, I totally vibe with you guys on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me and Caleb earlier were talking about how Subtronics, only up until like 8 months ago, was just using HSH or Rocket 8s, and he didn't have any acoustic treatment. He was just like in a bedroom basically.
Up against the wall.
Speakers up against the wall. Yeah.
Against the wall, up against the wall.
Yeah.
let's also say, I mean, he makes rhythm too.
That's
which-
true.
Yeah.
The type of music maybe doesn't
good point.
call for nearly as much
True, but also
understanding of like the space. It's a lot of. I mean, it's getting smashed.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
Right.
very
getting
good point.
smashed. Distortion out the wazoo. Like, I mean, granted, he still has to make it sound good,
but on top of that, he got big pretty big. So if he made
Pretty fast.
a couple of songs in that room to finish, and then somebody was like, hey, why don't you finish those tracks over here at the studio? Because you're signed with
Yeah,
Disciple.
also, was somebody mixing and mastering
Right.
yes,
them?
Like,
Or,
that's
or
one of the-
just
Was,
him, but in a good studio.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah,
That's
Sure.
also possible. Right.
My favorite studio monitor positions are on the ceiling,
That's
and then
a
you
good
have
one.
a random third one in the corner behind you.
And you lay down.
That's how it's done. Yeah. And you lay down. Yeah, I'm prettiest.
You gotta
Projector on the ceiling.
you can fully click on this show, and we have gone over this idea fully
Yeah, we
on
actually-
this actual show.
Yeah, we were
So-
On
just
this
talking about
episode, yeah.
speaker placement for a good like 20 minutes.
Yeah, so
right
you
before
can.
you got here.
You're totally welcome to click the button on the video. It's like videos on Twitch, and then look at it that way, or it'll end up on YouTube at some point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, you just want to try out different areas in your room until you find the spot you want.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can use some software to help you along with it.
Absolutely.
Also, I personally, even just putting at base level, putting diffusion in your room in general is going to make a massive difference. Even if you don't necessarily have the best speaker placement in your room, just having the diffusion, or not diffusion,
Absorption.
dampening, yeah.
Yeah.
Any kind of panels to bring the echo down in your room
It will help.
makes a
Like,
gigantic
absolutely.
help.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to hear things so much better as far as like
Your reverb.
when things stop, and
Yeah.
you're going to hear
It's
your reverb
Your
and
transient
like,
response.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'll hear your stereo, and you're going to hear your high end's going to be way better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You may still struggle on some of the low frequency stuff, but
Yeah,
it's at least going to be like that's like it's
it's also
singular
like
and it's-
super important in my mind. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the type of thing. Before I had any of that going on, I feel like I was just kind of swimming around in the deep sea,
Yep.
just like in the dark, trying to find a good mix. And then as soon as I put that in there, it was like, oh,
There it
now
is.
I actually can like
You can just make the decisions.
do things.
Yep.
Right. You can make
And your
informed
ears
decisions.
start to learn better because they're getting more accurate information. So
Yep.
the more you can do this sort of thing, the better.
Yeah.
It'll magically help your productions.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what Jaws says.
I mean, the funny, like, I can't remember who said it. Maybe was it you? One of you guys might have told me. Maybe it was somebody else, but
It was me, for sure.
Copycat produces with one monitor.
What?
Oh, why?
Yeah,
He produces just
Pretty
straight mono.
fun.
yeah,
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Nerd.
or at least has for a very long time.
What a nerd.
It was either one monitor or it was like the worst shit. I think it was like one KRK or something.
Is he doing stereo while he's
I think-
doing that?
Headphones? Yeah.
Headphones.
Jump into headphones for that.
That makes sense,
Oh.
yeah.
So like he might flip to headphones to hear
Mm.
that. But I mean it's
That's
just
cool.
funny to think like it's possible. That's the thing is like you can there's people out there
Pretty
that
good idea, honestly.
absolutely
Seems
can get out.
weird.
Yeah, I mean it is not a bad idea. I think the thing for me is like
Why
I
not
just
just
need
switch
a great
to mono? It makes it one speaker.
well, what if you only have one speaker?
I don't though. I have two speakers. So I'm not
True.
gonna go to
I
one.
mean, yeah, if you're, I mean, maybe find a different passion if you only have one speaker.
Well, he does it pretty damn well.
I mean, copycat
I mean,
for
he
sure.
could get
cruises.
another speaker.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's copycat. Come on.
100%.
Get another speaker.
Totally. But I think the biggest thing that he was trying to make a point of is like I can do this like this, and it like honestly frequent.
Yeah.
Like Nolan, he kind of has like a really similar perspective to that. He has Alpha 80s. He could absolutely have afforded or saved up to get much nicer speakers and have his space be very different from what it is. Like if you guys saw the room that he produces in, it is like a closet. It's like a weird shape. It's kind of like got the staircase over it a little bit because he's in the basement. So you have like one section of it just goes like really deep underneath the stairs, and it's like
It's like Harry Potter's little room.
yeah, it
under
feels
the
a lot
stairs.
like that. And like where he's sitting in the room is like you come in through the door that's at an angle, and the room's kind of laid out like this, and he's just sitting in the middle, like looking at like the wall from a like lengthwise perspective. I don't know. It's just. It feels like if you saw it, you'd be like, oh, this room probably sucks. But when you listen to it, it works. And his perspective is like, I just want to like hurry up and just get to writing tunes and just be comfortable with the space I have.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
it's absolutely possible.
And I think it also you have to be at a certain level of understanding and just making music.
Yeah.
Because I know Copycat's been making music for like 12 plus years.
Yeah.
You're at like what 15 plus. I'm sure Frequent's up there. You know, like
Yeah.
someone like me, if I was working in Harry Potter's little under the stairs bedroom, like it would not be good. And sure, like
But in 5
you would
years
get good. You'd if
Yeah.
you were there for 5 years, you'd
You do it for a long
understand it.
time,
But
yeah.
Yeah. And that's like all he does. You know,
That's
like,
one way
that
to look at
is-
it. But then when you leave, what happens?
I know, right? Yeah, because me and Caleb
You're
were talking about
probably
earlier how
fine,
weird.
but also maybe you make absolute shit music from that
Yeah.
point.
Well, I mean, that's
At least for a good
the
couple
reason-
months.
It's not gonna be absolute.
the personal justification that I have for putting all the time and energy that I do into it is I don't have a lot of time. I don't get to spend every single day for like 8+ hours working in that
Right.
studio to get used to the speakers. So I need, like, for the valuable couple of hours I might get every other day, I need to just be able to get in and go. And I
Yeah.
need to be able to make like sharp.
You need to be
quick-
able to trust it.
Yeah, I need
Right.
to. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And that's. I mean, that's why I bought the speakers I just recently bought. It's just it was a that's why I justify that. That really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also the income.
Yes.
Yeah. Helps.
Yeah.
Within your means.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
We
Also-
feel the love hardcore as fuck, let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
dude.
This is our first podcast in our new studio.
Yeah.
Did you mention you had a little Monster Cat release? Is that what I saw? Because that's pretty cool,
It's
man.
pretty dope.
did,
We should
yeah.
pull it up.
Yeah. Yeah, can we pull it? I'm down.
Let me get us back to our studio, though.
Yeah, can we go back to the skyscraper? Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, much better.
Man, the sun is going down so slow
It's
today.
fun,
It's just tapering.
where do you got your tracks at, my guy?
Hit us with the
OMG, a
SoundCloud.
skyscraper.
It's Spotify, YouTube,
Oh, let's go.
What is your name? Is it Hong?
just Hong. All right. Hope I'm saying it
Dope.
right.
Yeah, and if we're saying that wrong, don't
Hong?
cancel us because it probably won't work. Because no one knows who we are.
You can't
so.
cancel someone who doesn't exist.
That's the theory behind my
I'm
life.
gonna do Hong
Yes.
music. Is this it?
Run back to you.
If it is, that's a lot of views, my guy.
That's what's up,
It's pretty
dog.
dope. If so, congrats. That's pretty sick, man.
Yeah.
Let me know if I should click on this.
How long have you been making music for?
Okay.
Wave. I feel like I've listened to Wave before.
Walking the streets at night, holding my hands.
Where are you from?
And where did you get the vocals from?
But now I'm haunted. I'm sleeping alone at night, think of you all the time.
Vancouver, huh?
Can't help but
Nice.
In your whole life? That's how it's done.
Do you know Slink?
How about that?
Do you know
Yeah,
Slink
yeah,
by
yeah.
chance?
If
He's
you
out
know
there.
Slink,
Shout out Slink.
dude, I love Slink. He-
Love Evan.
So formative in my early years. He's so fucking Australian.
No, mate.
You're 24 now?
Sick. I just
You're an old guy, dude.
So if you call me saying that
Sounds
you
great.
want me to tell the truth,
Yeah.
I'd still run back
We gonna get canceled for having this playing on our podcast?
It might just get muted on the replay,
Oh, right.
but they'll be able to see who it is.
DMCA free. This reminds me of the music you.
Oh,
We're
because it's
riding.
Monster Cat. Or maybe, no, it's not Monster Cat.
He did have a Monster
Yeah, I
Cat
could see
release,
that.
though.
This is Wave.
Sounding similar to some of my older stuff.
Ever since we let go, lost all my self-control.
So they do the
Yeah.
they do the podcast every Tuesday. Is that right?
We do
That's
the
right.
podcast every Tuesday,
Every
8:30.
Tuesday, 8:30
Yeah,
p.m.
this is
Mountain Standard Time.
Mountain Standard.
We're out here in Denver.
Yeah. This is technically episode like 22 or something, 23.
It's our boy.
But it's officially only like, what, 7 or 8?
So my guy, give you a
Oh,
follow.
This is what you get everybody listening for jumping into the actual stream.
It's true.
We'll pay attention to you because we're bored and we're lonely.
We got nothing better.
We
to do.
should cut it though.
No.
Call
Yeah,
it
we
a
are.
pod for the day.
It is
I'm ready.
for the day.
Yeah, man. We'll spam our links. Share our productions.
Yeah, we all make music here.
Yes,
Always for 100 official on everything.
I will.
And you'll see a bunch of reposts from things from there.
Also, I don't think that worked actually. Oh no, that did work. Hostcorner.com will lead to
Word.
the Instagram and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Sick music video, by the way, too. Production's on point.
I like the transitions.
Is that your girlfriend or not? What's up? What's up? What's the
Yeah.
word
One
on
of his
that?
girlfriends.
If not,
Feet.
can I get her number?
Alisa.
That's what I'm saying.
Alisa.
And
Elisa.
that's the
yeah.
signal.
Is that your sister? What's up? What's the word?
Well, that's dope.
What's the word here?
Is it
Friend of a friend of a friend of a
I don't
friend
know.
of a friend.
My dude, you're the best.
Yeah.
And the
Thanks.
rest
And
of you.
Restraint is also the best. Thanks
Almost.
for swinging
Yeah,
by.
give it, everybody,
Jeez.
give it up for John Leitner, Restraint Music.
Clap for you guys.
You can find them at Restraint Music, yes?
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Restraint underscore music.
There you go.
SoundCloud's Restraint. Just look for the R.
That's it. Thank you, folks. Love you guys.
We done?
That's it.
We out?
We're still live on audio.
Still
right
live
now.
on audio. Okay.
Oh, they can hear us still?
Yeah.
I fucking hate you guys so much.
Oh, fuck!
Until I fade us out.
God.